So I guess my first question to you, Baroness Natalie, is what do you think the biggest challenges are with kind of the degree of government engagement with the private sector carbon markets as we try and, expedite the growth and genuinely mitigate some climate change?
Well, I think that obviously a starting point is fantastic, which is that there is global concern about the issue that you're trying to deal with. All the diversity of people here at COP shows how important it is and how high on the agenda is. But I think you're quite right. The problem we've seen over the last few years is actually turning that into tangible action. And I think there's quite a lot of skepticism around, moving from the talk to the action. So I think one of the great things in terms of the work Changeblock's doing is wanting to change the dial, move the dial, and to actually move things on. And I think your biggest challenge, being new, innovative, and using a whole array of different technologies and approaches, is to get that message out. And that's the message to government, to regulators, but also obviously to business, both the companies who will be generating credits, to the offsetters, and to everyone in the supply chain. And of course, making sure that you can credibly show the actual action on the ground and that things are delivering. So you've obviously got great plans to do that. So why don't you say a bit about how you can persuade me, how you can persuade us all that you are going to be able to deliver?
No, definitely. I think for us at Changeblock, and kind of the reason we founded, with my co-founder, this organization is because there is this trust problem. There's this fundamental issue around integrity and like what is a carbon credit. A lot of people don't even know.
Yeah.
For the viewers, I guess, a carbon credit is the monetizable element, that tradable product, like a coupon or a casino chip almost, that is, as its underlying asset, has planet repair and protection, which is an incredibly difficult thing to measure.
Yep.
How do you measure the improvement of gender inclusivity in a community? How do you measure a decrease in poverty? How do you measure an increase in biodiversity? These are formidably difficult things to measure. And at Changeblock, we have developed systems and technologies and processes that enable this to be done at a cost that is low, and that in a process that is efficient and in a way that is understandable. I think what's particularly interesting is that there's no global regulation. There's not even country level government regulation. The approvers, the ombudsman of the market, are private companies that operate very, very slowly and have been embroiled in scandal to multiple levels. And so, to that end, I ask you, what are governments going to do, and do you see governments taking a step forward in being like, okay, we're going to actually try and introduce our own guidelines or regulations towards this, just to at least enable people to look at this and take it seriously?
And I think they certainly will. And I think that we're at an exciting point where businesses such as yourself are coming forward. But what you're also going to have to do is educate the politicians and the regulators. You're at the cutting edge, you're using cutting edge technology in a different way. Okay, you're coming into a market that's been known, but as you've said, has had its reputational issues. And so that's a challenge that you're going to have to overcome. But I think one of the great things about this COP for the first time is that it seems like business are quite at the centre of the conversations, and it's not just governments talking in the abstract about targets and achievements, it's actually a dialogue. And I think in order to develop the sort of framework that you're talking about, that's where the dialogue has to be at the bottom of it. But ultimately, while government and regulators can have a framework through in which carbon markets can develop and companies and platforms such as yourselves can operate, actually the integrity and ethical approach is going to have to come from the businesses involved,
right,
from across the chain, as it were, from the offsetters through to from the carbon generators to the offsetters to the projects. And I think encouraging that and having that dialogue with the partners and the organisations you're going to be working with, and also having integrity and ethics at the heart of what you're doing, is going to be key to starting to build that trust and to show that you are offering a new proposition that can deliver all the things that we want to do in relation to achieving our net zero goals.
Exactly, and I think it's about being able to see the change. It's about making it tangible. Traditionally, the carbon markets have just been trading pieces of paper, allowances that don't really mean anything. They don't tell a story. And it's my opinion that to scale this market in the way that it needs to be scaled, you have to be able to storytell effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be able to tell the buyers, tell the partners, tell the governments. When you do it this way, here. So you can see that this education level has gone up. You can see that, hold on, these women and men don't have to walk 20, 30 kilometers a day to get drinking water. They only have to walk a kilometer. You can see in real time the amount of clean water being produced, or in real time the amount of plastic being recycled. And by doing that, you are literally telling the story of how we're making the planet a better place for future generations. And it's that drives the integrity and that makes the
And I think that's why sort of the focus that you've been talking about on data, on evidence, on transparency, on showing all of that, which underpins the work that you're doing, is so critical. So I don't know if you can say a little bit about some of the techniques or the technologies that you're going to be using and able to sort of give that credibility and make sure that we all know that integrity is there.
I think the one of the words that spooks people out a lot, and it is blockchain, and I think that it's key, because what it is it enables anyone to have access to the canonical truth. And by that I mean anyone, literally anyone, can independently go and verify that a piece of information is true. And when you empower that to the masses in a way that is decentralized, so there's no dependence on any one central institution or organization, you are fundamentally guaranteeing that piece of information is true. And so what we do is we deploy technology that at the source of information gathering puts that data on chain. The technical term is it hashes the data. So anyone buying a credit related to said projects, related to said community, they know that that project has done the thing that it has done canonically. And this, challenges the trust issue. Thank you so much for coming to Dubai and featuring in this roundtable event. I think the conversation's been super interesting, and being able to bring together former cabinet ministers like yourselves, the private sector, scientists and entrepreneurs like myself, and major investors. I think it's these conversations that are going to actually drive things forwards as we close the gap between policymakers and doers.
Absolutely, and I think this has been a great start. So congratulations on what you've achieved today. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Baroness.